Hello. I want to talk about psychology. There's a lot of thoughts that are going through my mind. And what I observe on the internet is that the majority of people who are not seen, who are not known, the majority of humans are not famous. The majority of humans are obscured in their own house. They may have 10 views on their videos like I do. Most of them have no videos even. Most people don't even make videos. And then there's a couple of people that make videos, but they're just dabbling along and they don't have any view. So I guess the reason why that PewDiePie, I don't know how to pronounce it, PewDiePie, the reason why that guy has become so unimaginably famous just by rambling along on in his own room, on his computer, on his desk. I'm not making fun or anything. I like that person. He is a very kind-hearted person, and I guess the reason why he has become so famous is because he is obviously very good looking, So he's Swedish and very good looking, and a lot of women like that. A lot of men like that. A lot of kids liked it, a lot of people in general. And he's also very peaceful and sweet, and I think a lot of people kind of yearn for that lifestyle and for that peacefulness and kindness. And this is what I want to talk about, most men don't allow themselves to be like PewDiePie. Most men don't allow themselves to be, and you see, you can't use your excuse of, oh, he is gay or he's feminine. No, not at all. Okay, he has a beautiful wife from Italy, absolutely gorgeous and sweet and kind and loving, and they are like match made in heaven, and they are both kind and sweet and loving, and they have a lot of, how do they call this, they have polarity, between male and female. They have all of that going. They have attraction, they have strong attraction, sexual lust and love combined, and polarity between male and female. He is tall and big and strong and masculine in the real sense. A real father, a real caregiver, protector, okay? And his wife is much smaller than he is, and very petite and very girly and very, 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 very feminine and very peaceful and very sweet and loving and everything. When I first heard her voice, I thought she was Japanese, because that's how a lot of Japanese girls are. And then I see that she is from Italy. And gorgeous woman. And so I see these things, I observe these kind of things, I see all of this. I think about this sometimes for hours. I think about these things that I observe on the internet. I'm very interested in all of that. I see now, this is kind of almost like a contradiction, but what I see there. I see a lot of men on the internet that are trying to be macho, that are trying to be, they're trying to come across as tough and mean, and like they're so mean, and they think this is masculine. That's also what they have been told, and that's what they have been brainwashed with, with Hollywood movies and racing cars that are killing the very actors that play these figures and stuff. And Vin Diesel, this badass mentality. So they're really drilled, the majority of people. They're very much, I talked to Paul about this for the last couple of days, how people are drilled, and he doesn't really want to acknowledge it so much. Yeah, but he will say, yeah, but they're stupid for letting that drill them. But how can I, I mean, there's maybe 1 in 100 people who questions the things that are bombarding us on a daily basis with commercials and Hollywood movies and corporate propaganda, okay, that we hear all over the world, all over the internet, all the time. I have AdBlocker Plus, which that's a non-profit organization from England. I am deeply grateful to them. This is free. It's a free app that you can use, and it just takes all the commercials away, except for the commercials that people embed into their videos, where they suddenly stop on some kind of subject and say, and by the way, here is my program that I promote, and so on. So that's part of the video, and the reason why they're doing that now is because a lot of people have ad blocker, and other types of ad block software and stuff like that. And I don't blame people for having ad blocker, so I think having a commercial shoved into our face with even the volume turned up on it. Now that really crosses the line. When they turn the volume up for the commercial, that crosses the line into a complete breach into people's peace realm, with my senses and everything, with our biological senses that are being breached with that. But in general, nobody should have to put up with a commercial in any show, in anything. So I will never have commercials. I mean, no matter what, my videos are demonetized anyway because of the subjects I talk about. There's no company that would ever, like Nike, right? I don't buy Nike anymore. I'm against all of these corporations, very much against them. I'm against Adidas. I'm against all of these horrific, woke, piss-on corporations that are only interested in money and nothing else. They do terrible things. They do exploitation. Oh, by the way, Paul told me today that because we have been petitioning to Nike for years and years and years, group effort worldwide, petitions over petitions to Nike to finally end the kangaroo hunt in Australia, where they make leather for their shoes out of kangaroo skins. This has been going on for decades. So PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, together with all of us animal rights activists who have been signing this, they finally had a breakthrough. And with Wayne Purcell from the Worldwide Humane Society, okay, an amazing man. Okay, we finally had a breakthrough with this, And Nike finally, under a lot of pressure from the public, finally agreed to end butchering kangaroos. Okay. This only happens when there's a lot of pressure on people. Okay. If there's not enough pressure, they don't care. They don't do these things on their own. Okay. So for me, I don't forget. I will never buy Nike because of what they have done in the past. They also have used child labor way in the past during that was going on during the Bush administration. Okay, so that was a big uproar. So that was a bigger uproar because most people are very speciesist and they only care about humans. But at least they care about the children. So I care about all beings. I care about the animals and the children and all beings. I don't make any differences between them. They're equally sentient. A kangaroo is equally sentient to my dog and me and Paul. Horses, cows, pigs, we're all equally sentient. Okay, we all deserve the same protection. The Blue God agrees. 1111. Okay, there you see it right there, live happening. Okay, that's the infinite cosmos. The infinite cosmos shows itself in symbols, in art behind me, the alien spaceships. Okay, it shows itself in dreams, in clouds, and pattern formation. And this is the truth. And if we pay attention, then we can see that the Blue God, the infinite cosmos, Gautama Buddha, is communicating with every single living being, with every energy form there is. We're part of this, but that doesn't make us gods. Okay? We are just particles of the infinite. We're particles that are learning. Okay, we're going through a school. All sentient beings are equally sentient. They breathe, they feel physical touch, sensation, love. If they are being hunted, they suffer just as much as if humans are hunted. Just want to make this very crystal clear for people, because I see there's a lot of propaganda out there in direct or indirect form that still gets into people's brains and manipulates them to think that the human species is somehow special or on some kind of pedestal when they are not. Okay. My dog is equally special and important as I am. People have different preferences for different species. Some people want to have a human baby. Some people want to have their own human baby. Some people want to adopt a human baby real badly. They pay a lot of money, which has caused corruption, really massive corruption, with human trafficking. There are baby making factories in third world countries, including South America at the equator. It's really sad. Okay, I believe that the lady Natalie Holloway, I think was her name, she was snatched away from some kind of resort. I think she was from the United States, snatched away at the beach, and nobody has seen her again. Okay, this looks like human trafficking to me, and there are millions of women that are disappearing in the same way worldwide. Human trafficking has gone up by thousands of %. And that is the human species, and that's why I'm deeply concerned for this planet. And a lot of women are put into cages, and they are repeatedly raped, and they are made to carry out children, and these children are then sold and in some kind of fake foster care organization, and they all just say, oh, we just rescued this baby and here it is for adoption, and people pay a lot of money, and by paying a lot of money for those children, they feed human trafficking. They feed this organized crime. Okay, this is a fact. So don't feed that anymore. Just don't do it. Adopt an animal from the animal shelter. That's not trafficking. Okay. If you pay a breeder, that's like trafficking. Okay. That's like the trafficking of living beings. That's the slavery and sale of living beings. Don't do it. I don't want to do it. I was very tempted to buy a European Basset Hound, but we decided we can't do it. Because it's like feeding human trafficking. It's the same thing. I wanted to rescue one. We rescued Dave. Yeah, he was a rescue dog. He was older, with health problems. They didn't want him anymore. So we got him. And precious 3 years, but only 3 years with him. Yeah. It was hard to lose him. It was very hard to lose him. I don't want to cry now. Well, there's a lot in the world going on. There's a lot. There's so much in the world going on that makes me cry. I can't list it all if I even tried in one video. Animal exploitation, breeding of dogs, putting living beings into this world, human trafficking, breeding of human babies, selling them, exploiting them, exploiting women, exploiting innocent women in sex trafficking organizations, organized crime rings, drug cartels, drug crime rings, the people across the street from us. Those are drug users, and they are selling drugs. The entire drug community goes there. They are about in that age. That's what I wanted to address in this video. They are just in that age range, about 30. That my children would be right now if I had put them into this hell-hole existence. Okay. And that's why I said to Paul earlier, because I had to think about this for a long time. Am I an anti-natalist? I was for a while hardcore anti-natalist for many years. I hung out with those people on Facebook. I got to know them a little bit. There are a lot of those people. Many of them are suffering really bad. Yeah. You don't get to that mind state unless you are suffering. But then I had some second thoughts for another couple of years after I left that group. They were just too negative for me. It's just the same with Paul, basically, but even worse. They're beating the drum on that what is. They're not changing anything. They're not running for office. I want you to run for office instead of insulting people. I'm not going to mention any names now, but instead of starting a serious confrontation with someone who may be 99% on board with how you think, but this 1% that doesn't fit right in, and then you have to start to pick a fight with me because I said this 1% or 2% there that I don't agree with you on. Okay. So no, negativity cult almost. They want to make it into a cult. They do. There's a lot of people that do. I don't like cults. It wouldn't matter what nature that cult is. But I told Paul today, so I know now for sure. I had to think about this for a long time. I'm a non-militant anti-natalist. That's who I am. And I'm not going to fit in with any of these people. I'm not going to fit in with any group or demographic. Okay. And I want to keep it that way. I want to keep my own autonomy, my freedom of speech, my freedom of expression and thought evolution. Okay? I am not stagnated at some kind of plateau, which is the case with a cult. A cult creates something that may start out as fairly good, then it gets overthrown and overrun and outdone by some other thinkers, right? Not soon after that, but the cult stays on that stagnant plateau, no matter what. They made a cult out of it, and then they can't change anything. It cannot be revised. The thing can't grow, right? Rudolf Steiner. They made a frickin' cult after this man called anthroposophy, which is a big mistake. Okay. Rudolf Steiner was vehemently against that. He did not want this to happen. But the anthroposophists, which are die-hard Rudolf Steiner fans, but they don't even know what Rudolf Steiner actually meant to say, right? This is very, very, very irritating. Rudolf Steiner was way ahead of his time. He impressed a lot of people, but that was not his goal. He didn't want to impress anyone. He said that to his friend. He said it to his friends many, many, many times. He said, I'm glad that they're helping us and doing this, and everyone has their tasks that contribute to his ideas and the buildings that they created. The Goetheanum, for example, amazing building. And that was also way before its time, a dome-shaped type of house with organic shapes, everything. There are no sharp corners or edges. Everything is organically structured and shaped, which is very ahead of his time. Very, very ultra-modern, and not just in a modern architectural sense. To a lot of architects, they'll create something to be cutting edge, No, to be extra not cutting edge, literally, right? Not cutting edge. For Rudolf Steiner, there are no edges, literally, and no cutting edge, and no bragging, and no trying to portray something or be something. It was about necessity. It was about harmony, living in harmony with nature. But his so-called followers, they don't seem to understand. They create a cult out of it, and then they stay stuck in 1920. When Rudolf Steiner himself said in the 1920s, when he was giving his last lectures on organic and biodynamic agriculture and modern agriculture, modern farming, okay, modern horticulture, okay, and how to grow vegetables and to go about this and how to live in harmony with nature, okay. He said there will be people in the future that will have something to contribute to this thought process. And he calls this thought process organic and alive, and it's not finite, it's not final, it's not linear. Okay. He calls this is a growing, dynamic, alive thought process that he has set in motion because he's a philosopher, and he has put this all together, all of these thoughts on all these different facets of existence, how to make life better. And he did not want a cult, he did not want followers, he wanted people to understand him, not follow him. There's a big difference in that. He wanted people to understand, and he wanted more healing cosmonauts, as Dr. Scholl calls them. You know, Dr. Scholl is on the same page. He wants people to take this healing process into their own hands and not just say, oh, I can only do what Dr. Scholl said, or I can only do what Rudolf Steiner knew at that time. Yeah. So he knew a lot, and Dr. Scholl knew a lot. So, but let's not make that stagnant. Let's not make a cult out of either one of any of these people, or Nietzsche, or whatever people do. Some people have misunderstood Nietzsche greatly. Okay. There are cults that are misunderstood Nietzsche in a Nazi form. There are people that misunderstood him in some kind of anti-life form. Or all of those are misunderstandings. Okay. Nietzsche was just like Steiner and Dr. Scholl. He wanted people to understand this. He wanted people to pick up on these thought processes and make them grow, make them proliferate themselves, and not stagnate it, not make a cult out of it. Okay, he was very much against that. So Rudolf Steiner knew there will be people that will bring new ideas into the same thought process that is organic, that is growing, that is moving forward, and there are people that will contribute something to it. There will be inventors that will invent things that will make gardening easier, and so on and on and on and on. Not be stuck with a shovel and a rake and just, move with the evolution of invention, technology, agriculture. But the basics, the core message in this is live in harmony with the planet. And that means no pesticides. That means no chemicals, no petrochemical derivatives, no chemicals that don't naturally occur on this planet, and no chemicals that are mined and isolated. I talked about this many times. Don't isolate components. Don't strip away particles out of a macromolecule. Very important information, that people understand this, that we live in harmony with nature and with, I'm not showing you, and with all of these natural components that we have, that we can work. You want to go for a walk? Yes? Go for a walk. You could go to the cemetery? Yes, he is going to the cemetery with you. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So, work with the natural components that we have here on this planet, like the plants, the minerals, and keep them in their whole macromolecular structure. Don't alter the molecules. That's a breach of nature that has massive consequences that are not pleasant. And we've already seen this now. Okay? With the development of nuclear fission, for example. Enrico Fermi, that Italian physicist. Yeah, be gentle with him. I don't think Enrico Fermi didn't even knew the kind of consequences that would be coming out of it. And neither knew the Jewish lady that was working for the Nazi government in the 30s, who was employed for creating the technology of nuclear power, and she's the one that has calculated this. She's the one that has set the foundation for it, and later very much deeply regretted it. She didn't realize the danger of this. Okay, and then Enrico Fermi and those kind of later scientists that came a bit later. Oh, I think Enrico Fermi was there at about the same era, but he was in Italy and she was in Germany. So, and then they started to work together, these two governments also. There's no difference between Mussolini and Adolf Hitler, okay? But Adolf Hitler is the one that takes the beating, not Mussolini. Okay? But whatever, So they're both equally bad. They were both Nazi dictators, okay? And they hired these big brains to create technology that they would use, that they would weaponize in the literal sense, okay? So, and use for their warfare. It's very tragic what happened on this planet already, and if it wasn't Hitler or Mussolini, then there would have been other names that would have evolved from the masses of people that would have misunderstood things in life and run off with it in the wrong direction. Okay, and this has been happening in history, and it's still happening. And that's why I'm deeply concerned about the species. Deeply concerned. So we are approaching very fast a pivotal point in history where, with the escalation of political tensions that have been rising because of Joe Biden, because of Kamala Harris, because of the corporate agenda that is puppeteering these people and paying these people massive amounts of money to do everything in their power to create war. Okay. And Volodymyr Zelensky, okay, part of this. And many players that are behind the scenes. Most of the players are behind the scenes that we don't get to see. Okay. So then there are some that have become known and visible. George Soros and Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, okay, players that are part of the corporate agenda that cannot hide anymore. Okay, the world sees them. Okay, there are people that are paying attention to this, and they don't forget. And they watch these people. They monitor them. And there may be other powers and entities that are watching as well. I'm not going to get into this now, but I'm fairly sure. I'm pretty sure. It feels right that there are entities watching, and they don't forget either. And I can just hope that if it comes to an escalation, that whoever will come in to intercept will know who the destructive ones are, the destructive humans are, and who the peaceful humans are. That's all I can say to this. I'm a peaceful human. My husband, Paul, is a peaceful human. The animals are all peaceful beings, okay, innocent. It's the majority of humans that are not peaceful. And that's very tragic. And because of that, they could potentially end this entire species and many other species on this planet. And then who do they blame after that happens? That will be the end of George Soros. But he doesn't seem to be thinking about this very much. Like maybe he will move into his luxury bunker. Is that your idea of existence, to live in a luxury bunker? That's not my idea of existence. I couldn't live like this. At some point, I would get out of that bunker. If I could. If I'm not locked in by someone else, I would eventually open the door and get out and feel the sun and see nature again. And even if everything is radiating, okay, I'll let myself be irradiated, whatever. And just go on a lifelong journey, like a pilgrimage into nature. And if I fall over dead, then so be it. That's better than living in a bunker. There's no way I could live in a bunker. No way, ever. So, some of them want to move to Mars. Some of them might move to a space station. Is that your idea of living, existing? You want to destroy this planet so that you have the extra money. Destroy all of these species of innocent living beings that are playing with each other on open fields, pigs, cows playing with each other, not knowing what is coming. You want to do that to them? You want to radiate them so that they fall over dead, so that they suffer with tumors? Oh. This is what's going through my mind on a daily basis. Every day I think about this. And I talked to Paul about it. We're beating the drum on the situation. It doesn't move us forward. So that's why I make videos, because, I need to talk about this. I need to talk to someone about this. I have to talk about it. At least I get to reflect over all of these things in the video, and maybe have the chance to talk to someone about this. Or if nobody wants to talk about it, then at least I can talk to my computer about it, and maybe someone will watch the video. So it's some kind of quasi pseudo type of communication that I'm doing here. I'm trying to talk to people with this video. But I don't see very many people talking to me about these subjects. I don't see anyone under my YouTube videos who would talk to me about these subjects and brainstorm with me together on how we can make this better. How can we make this life better? How can I reach someone like Dr. Stephen Greer, for example, or Linda Moulton Howe, or Elon Musk? How can I reach someone like this who's mega famous? How can I reach any of these people that have something to contribute, that are very concerned? How can I reach any of these people when they have millions of people that are commenting to them and sending them emails and messages? How can I? I got lucky one time. I emailed Helga Tackreiter, and she's not even famous. She's not famous in. She's kind of like stays behind the scene. She's a very strong animal rights activist. She has a cow sanctuary in New Jersey. She works together with Peter, with Ingrid Newkirk. They send her cows that are rescued from factory farms. And the only reason why Helga Tackreiter even saw my email is because at that time I had the name Nicola Redwood Forest at gmail.com. It's an old account that I'm not using anymore. So, and she thought, oh, that name stands out. So let me just, from thousands, even she gets thousands and thousands of emails because she has a cow sanctuary. So there's a lot of people that want to get in touch with her, and a lot of animal rights activists, a lot of fans, a lot of people that she inspires. Even Oprah Winfrey show wanted her to come to the show, and I guess the other things she became fairly known, was quite known, is her arts and crafts that she makes. She's an artist. She makes large stuffed animals in form of a cow with plush fur, and she calls them couches, and they're large, really large cow-size plush animals, cow stuffed animals. And I think that's a great idea for people. Also to promote awareness for the cows, for their well-being. And she would always incorporate her work into the information that comes with each of those amazing works. So each of those amazing works is a piece of art. Okay, so art can come in many forms. Art can come in styrofoam packages. It can come in a stuffed animal. It can come in a doll. And she also makes doll houses that are very large and creates the dolls. Very amazing woman. Okay, and so before I saw her videos, I had not heard about her. There's a lot of people in the animal rights community that I have not heard about before. But it was somewhere in 2013 or 2014, I guess, when I think it was 2013 when I made contact with Helga Tackreiter. And I forgot now how I think I saw her YouTube videos of her sanctuary, and I wrote to her, and then I emailed her. And she picked my name because it was a weird name and it stood out. So I was very grateful for that, from thousands and thousands of emails. And she said, yeah, let's do a Skype conversation, just audio. And we did, and we talked for about 2 hours, and I'm very grateful for that. She's a sweet, sweet, sweet God-level soul. Amazing. She has so much on her plate, so many things to do all the time. And taking care of her cause. I said, why don't you come and visit us? And she said, there's no way she'll ever leave her sanctuary. She doesn't even want to travel anywhere. She doesn't want to go on a vacation anywhere else. She says, at home, that's her vacation. That's where she wants to be. She doesn't want to be anywhere else. She has a large property in New Jersey with cows on the meadow. They live there for the rest of their lives. And she told me such beautiful, beautiful things. As an activist, I got her to understand something about the Humane Farming Association. She was almost going to give money to them, and I told Helga not to give money to the Humane Farming Association, because the Humane Farming Association is not humane, or what they, I don't even like the word at all. That's why it's such an exploited word, that doesn't even mean anything at all. So, and it's not unhumane, and it's not ethical at all. It's just a name that tries to catch people, that tries to get donations, but in reality, they're working hand in hand with the corporate agenda, with cow farmers. When I said to the Humane Farming Association, I wrote an email to them, and I told Helga about the whole story. And I said, do not give them money. Because what happened is, when I wrote to the Humane Farming Association, the lady at the Humane Farming Association, I forgot her name, she wrote back and she said, we can't do this, ahimsa, we can't do this, like leaving the babies with the mother and keeping them in a large territory where they can roam and all of. She said, we can't do that. They take their babies away. Because if they didn't take the babies away, they wouldn't make enough profit. So it's all profit driven. That's all it is. I find this is an absolute breach of nature. It is an atrocity. It's violence. That's what that is. So I told Helga about this email exchange, and Helga said, I'm never going to give the Humane Farming Association any money anymore. And I said, I'm so glad you get to save money, because I told her that I was so glad, because I was so glad I did something, I got someone to not give money to this corrupt institution. Okay. So, and she was grateful that I told her that. And Helga got me to never buy milk anymore. So at that time, I was still buying milk and putting it as a creamer into my pear coffee, the kids' coffee. And I said, I don't know what else to do. Everything else doesn't taste good. At that time, they didn't have very good plant milks. And I didn't know what to do, so I bought milk just to put as a creamer into my kids' coffee. And Helga talked me out of it. She just continued in a very peaceful way. Very peaceful, not a struggle. She just reminded me that even the slightest bit of buying milk or buying any milk product, the slightest contribution into this horror crime ring, as I would call it, perpetuates the crime. Okay, so I cannot give a penny anymore into this dairy industry, because any money put into that perpetuates that violence and the suffering. Okay. We can't do it anymore. Okay, That's why I wanted to become a vegan. I tried really hard for many, many, many years. So, but no more milk products for me. No more. And I keep telling Paul, then he keeps on bringing stuff back into our refrigerator. Okay. And I keep telling him, don't buy it even if it's on sale. Sometimes they might get desperate and reduce the price way down, and then people will start buying it again, right? So don't buy it even if it's ultra cheap. Don't feed into it this anymore. They could be rest posts that the store is selling or something. Don't feed into it. Don't buy it. That's all I can say to this. And I thank Helga Tackreiter for giving me this last information on it in a very peaceful presentation. I'm very grateful to her for that, for her tremendous work. She's originally from Germany, then they moved to Canada, and then they moved to the United States. She doesn't speak German anymore. I guess she was 10 or something. So she probably still understands German, but she doesn't speak German anymore. And I'm still speaking German, but I don't like speaking German. And I didn't speak German to Helga. So, a wonderful, amazing woman. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so grateful that she is there in New Jersey rescuing cows. And she told me something very, very outstanding. She said that when the moon is in full moonshine, when we have full moon, and the moon and the sky is clear, and we see the full moon right over the meadows of the cow meadows, that's when her cows express their deepest gratitude to Helga, and they start to do a line dancing. I am not kidding, and she's not kidding with this. I know she's not kidding about this. She observes her cows in moonshine on the meadow to dance with each other, the males and the females too. Very, very sweet. Like a line dancing, like a way they used to dance in 1600 during the Baroque era. Obviously they can't hold each other's hands, they can't do twirling like this and stuff like this, but a form like this, a form of line dancing, a form of coming together, moving back out, coming back together, walking in a circle, walking around each other, those kind of things. And most people don't know this about cows. Most people don't know that cows are creative, that they can be in absolute unison and in tune with the infinite cosmos like this. Now that's beautiful. That's what Jiddu Krishnamurti calls creation. That's a mental state where a living being is in a complete unison, in the complete vortex, as Asterix calls it. That's when we are completely attuned. That's the word Teal Swan uses. An attunement with the infinite cosmos, in complete alignment with the infinite cosmos energy. Okay, that's when we are in the creative flow. So that's that creative flow that I'm always talking about. That's that being one with this creation process. We are here and we are completely alive, and we are flowing with our ideas and with our spontaneous thoughts and feelings, and we are inspiring each other to move in a specific way. The Papa dog, our European Basset Hound, and a Bambi dear boy, they started to do this on our lawn. They started to do this dance. That was a moment, a few minutes long, 10 minutes. I was sitting there in awe, and they were doing this creation. It was a communication between the two. They both wanted to get to know each other. They both wanted to touch each other's noses. But then they were a little bit shy, and then there was this tango between them, back and forth, and it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So every living being can be in this attunement, in this alignment, and in this creative flow. Everyone could be in this mental state of creative flow. And that's why I made these videos for Jimmy, where my idea is for every living being, for every human being, to the animals, obviously, they can't make artwork out of packaging materials, but they can be part of the process. They can help us, they can inspire us, they can sit next to us, they can push our artwork, they can give us kisses, So they are, in that sense, they will be part of the creative flow. They will feel it. They will feel that creative flow. They will feel like they're part of this process, in a peaceful and in a good feeling way, and in a safe way. So we have to always be careful when we make artwork that the materials we're using are safe, that we're not cutting anything, we're not using something like a scissors near an animal. So we have to be very careful with that. So whatever we're crafting or we're carving something out of a piece of wood, we have to make sure that the animals are not close to any of these tools, or don't have access to a tool. An animal could accidentally take a drill motor and it could accidentally turn on. So we have to be very responsible and very careful in the way we handle our tools around animals and children. Very, very important. So, but when we're making something, when we're painting something, our dogs can sit there next to us, and they feel that energy, of us being in this creative flow. And if every human would start this creative flow of making something out of something that you would normally throw away, out of something that's in your garage, out of some packaging materials, or something that you would normally discard or recycle or throw away. So if we make something out of that will be there for generations to come, that will be beautiful, that could hang on the wall, that could be a sculpture standing somewhere, that will always inspire us, that will always smile at us, like these alien spaceships, and they always make me happy when I look at them. It's beautiful to have that. There's so much peace that radiates out of that. A healing energy, a calming energy that radiates out of that. So and my other ones that are smiling and laughing right now, So all of this is vibrating with beautiful, healthy, wholesome energy. And we can fill our homes with that, We make our lives better, and we can feel incredibly accomplished. This is very uplifting for us. This makes us feel empowered to do something. That's true empowerment. That's love, That's fulfillment, true fulfillment. Through this, we can make contact to other people, to other like-minded people, to people who are willing to do this as well. but I want everyone to do it. If every human would start this process and not think about like, the shaming from the father, and the father has shamed you when you try to make artwork. You need to question these fathers. You need to stay away from those people. Very important. My dad is also quite a jerk. Okay, I'm sorry to have to say this. He likes art and art process, but he also has aspects of his personality that are not nice. Okay, so he doesn't encourage me with my holistic living, for example. So I guess that goes against his very regimented idea of how to live. I tell my dad we want to live in a greenhouse. That goes against his idea of architecture, because he is an architect, and his idea of architecture is still building in a postmodern type of form, like that he has to put his own signature into it. And yeah, he's creative, but he also has pride. So these things are all there with him still. And when there's pride, when there's arrogance, when there's stagnation happening, then he stands in his own way of completely letting go and flowing with this creative art process. So he tries to discourage me. That's why I don't even want to talk to him anymore. He tries to discourage me from the natural living and the holistic living. Nobody can discourage me from that, no matter what rude language they use. Because I know 1,000% what I'm talking about is the truth. If we want to heal this planet, for example, we have to convert to living on the land. We have to convert to living in barn houses, in greenhouses, or a combination of barn houses and greenhouses, or dome houses, okay, like the Swedish family has created, all the way almost in the Arctic Circle, where they have solar flares, where it gets like 40 minus in the wintertime, Fahrenheit. Okay, so they hired an architect to build that dome house, and then they build their family house inside of the dome house, and they have it warm all year round in that dome house. It wouldn't matter where you are. You could be on Mars. Okay, and that's why Tesla wants to create these dome houses on Mars. Obviously, those are biospheres. They can be made enormously large. I have dreams about this at night, during the day, daydreams, night dreams, visions of this. That's the future. That's the future on Earth. That's the future on Mars. Okay, and then we can also save the planet if we do this. And we can protect families from hunger and starvation, okay, worldwide, by doing this. The corporate agenda will discourage you from doing this, because the corporate agenda capitalizes on people's poverty. They capitalize on people's fear and on people's willingness to let themselves be enslaved by them, mentally and physically. So question the corporate agenda, question the most corporations, question most of them, question the industries, okay? Question them and ask yourself the question: are they contributing to making the planet better? Are they contributing to save the Earth? If they do, like Tesla, then be on board with that. Help them in any way you can. Buy their products, donate money to them, work for them. Don't betray them ever in any way. Don't work as an infiltrator. Okay. That's my plea to you, to the world. If we want to make this world better that we live in, okay? Peace.